All right, thanks everyone for joining us this morning. Please use the raise hand function and wait for me to call on you for questions. Greg, you can get us started.
Jeff, how did you rate the group's mentality coming through the open week? Did you see the kind of response that you hope to see from your group?
Yeah, they've been good. Obviously, we'll find out more Thursday, but they've been good so far.
You mentioned one of the things you saw against North Texas was that they maybe struggled to handle the prosperity of the result against Rice. Do you see a more desperate group this week? How has that kind of changed?
Obviously, Greg, if I could predict and see that, you would never walk into those deals. I just felt during the game they had more edge than we did, and we've been good in practice, but we'll know more Thursday. I mean, gotta go play the game.
You guys were in kind of a similar spot last year at kind of a low point heading into a big game against Memphis at home at night against a pretty strong team. How do you kind of compare the moment you're in now to what that week was like last year?
They're all different and they're similar too. But yeah, as far as the predicament we're in a very similar predicament. But yeah, I would. It's hard for me to answer that question, Greg. Just to go back and reflect on last year, obviously, and compare the two specifics. But I can see your point.
JJ.
Jeff, what do you see on film out of Tulane?
A typical, look like a John Summerall football team. They're balanced on offense. They can run the ball with all three tailbacks. Quarterback's the leading rusher on the team. Quarterback's very dynamic. He has some unbelievable playmaking skills, ability to extend plays, throw, off balance, different arm angles, three backs that run the ball well, good play action pass game. Defensively, they're really good up front. Their defensive line does a really fantastic job. Very multiple, and their specialists are elite. Their kicker, their punter, returners. Really good football program. Tulane's been great for a long time. They invest heavily in that program, and you can see it. They have, they have two P4s that play at home. Beat both of them. They beat Northwestern at home, beat Duke at home, and their only loss on the road at Ole Miss. So again, I know it's something we've tried to get done here, but the ability to get a P4 to come play at your own place really was a great job by them, and just a very well-run organization. I mean, Tulane's done it right for a long time.
Jeff, what does this game on Thursday do to the schedule this week? Is today like a Tuesday or Wednesday practice for y'all?
Yeah, today's Wednesday. Yesterday was Tuesday for us, so we practiced, last night. Hate practicing on Sunday, but it's just one of those kind of things you have to do, and it is what it is. It's just the nature of the beast. So we got that in last night. Kids are really good, and we'll go again tonight because Monday's a class day for these kids. And then tomorrow we'll go in the morning because, that's the way their schedules work as far as academics. So there'll be a quick turnaround tomorrow morning.
Jeff, what do you hope to see out of Owen this week?
Just to continue to get better and him to win the game. That's what the quarterback's job is, to win the game.
Greg.
Jeff, along those lines, we talked earlier in the season about the downfield passing game, and you mentioned, getting reps with some new guys and the receiver health improving. Can you point to anything now that would indicate, what's missing to get that to connect to a higher level, or how you can get that going?
Yeah, we got to be better, Greg. I wish it were that simple, Bubba. If it were, we'd already have it fixed.
And you touched on Tulane's offense a little bit. You mentioned Retzlaff at quarterback. What has allowed him to be so productive in the running game, and how do you have to account for that as a defensive?
You talking about their quarterback?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, they're very intentional with him. They know he's an unbelievable athlete, so they run him a lot. and some of it's just him, making plays on his own, but they have some intentional runs for him as well. And their backup quarterback's really good too. When they bring him in the game, you'll see two quarterbacks out there together, and usually something's happening with that kid, getting a ball in his hand somehow. So Coach Craddock does a really good job. He's their offensive coordinator, and we work together at SMU. We work together at Arkansas together, so he does a really good job.
What is your perspective on penalties right now? How big of an issue is that for your group, and how do you go about addressing that?
Well, I just think you got to look at each one of them individually, and Jimmy Wyrick's is disciplining of good football players we have on our team. So you look at that holding penalty, and you look at that, and then you look at Trevor Timmons' hold. Trevor's been a really great player for us all year at guard. I don't know if he has a penalty this year. The ones that bothered me the most, obviously, were the special teams ones to block in the back. That's just undisciplined, not good football. Those are the ones I'm dealing with. When they happen in the moment of the game, stuff happens, and sometimes the officials call them, sometimes they don't, Greg. You've been around this long enough to know that you're looking at the same thing I am. You're like, was that really a penalty? And when they are, they are. And when they're not, you're like, what the heck was that? So you just got to look at each one of them. And, Big Rail jumping off sides twice is disappointing because he's such a good football player, and that's not like him. But I think going on the clap, being on the road, he thought he heard something, and, he got him spooked. So that's you just got to look at each one of them individually.
I know compared to last year, you talked about a lot of things that you were going to do during the offseason to try to address the penalty problem after it was such a big thing last season. But it sounds like this year it's a little bit of a different conversation, maybe more case by case. Do you see similar issues from a year ago that you had tried to patch up?
No, there's nothing. There's no personal fouls or late hits or unnecessary. There's none of that stuff showing up. It's part of the game. It's an easy talking point, and you guys got to have stuff to talk about, and I get it. And turnovers, and my mom could have missed the game and asked me about turnovers and penalties because that's what the stats say, right? And it's just not that easy. If you look at each turnover, there's a story behind each one of them, and none of us want 3 turnovers, and none of us want 9 penalties. But I just think you have to. The bigger issue that's not being talked about enough is why in the heck do they break 37 tackles? That's got to get fixed. You cannot play defense like that. You just can't. And we were an absolute no-show on defense. And I'm not making a soft bet for anybody else, but that's the story. The 3 turnovers, that's not been us this year. Our defense not showing up, that's not been us this year. That's the story to me, is why are we so poor? We couldn't stop them. And they're very frustrating.
I'm sorry, I was going to say I had the tackles next up on my list here. How do you address that during the open week, given that you obviously want to limit your physicality and not get the guys in trouble in that sense?
Yeah, that's tough. A lot of tackling, on dummies and shields, and just trying to duplicate the exact tackles they missed in the game. Just try to give your guys a better chance, a better plan too. I don't know that you can ask your safeties to be making some of those tackles in some of those positions. We're going to have a better plan.
JJ.
Jeff, historically the defense has been able to create some turnovers and been opportune in that facet of the game. What leads to that? It seems like that may be missing a little bit this season.
I don't know I've ever had a group be more intentional at practicing it. We're as good at practicing it, and I bet we've got more video of us trying to knock balls out. And, first you got to get to the quarterback, and we're not doing a very good job of getting to the quarterback. And then you got to make the interception when they throw it to you. And we had an opportunity in the red zone the other night, and we didn't make the catch. So those are all things that are very frustrating when you're a coach, because it seems like when it gets going, it gets going. And when it's not, it just doesn't. So we got to find a way to get all that fixed, JJ. Everything you're saying is describing teams that don't win. When you can't throw the ball down the field, which Greg's mentioned, when you turn the ball over, which Greg's mentioned, when you have penalties, which Greg's mentioned, when you don't tackle very well, which Greg's mentioned, when we don't cause turnovers like what JJ's mentioned, when our quarterback play is not real good, which JJ's mentioned, those are all signs of teams that are not winning very many ball games. And sadly enough, for whatever reason, when we're on the road, all those things tend to show up a whole lot more. And like, what is that? Like, why can't we not fix that? It's extremely frustrating.
Craig?
Jeff, how's the overall health of your team coming through the open week and maybe having a little bit of a time to recover?
I'd say our practices have probably been more physical than the game, so we might have more of an injury list right now than we did after the North Texas game.
That sounds unusual for the way you guys usually operate. Was that a very intentional focus to try to ratchet that up this week?
When you play as bad as we did on defense, you're going to ratchet some things up.
I wanted to ask about Ben Rios in particular. What's kind of the outlook for him, and how do you see Luke Lopez perform in his place?
Luke was great. I mean, he really was. We had a couple of snap issues, just timing of snaps. It's just, again, we're on the clap, and we're usually on cadence. Those kind of things are a little different when you're on the road. And but Luke was great. Played really well. We'll see about Ben. We'll just see if he can go or not. But even if Ben can, Luke played really well.
And in the big picture, how well do you feel like your team is embodying the culture that you preach in these moments, and how important is that when you come through some rough stretches to make sure you're leaning on those pillars?
Greg, you know me better than that. We're 3-4. Obviously, when you do the math on that, I'd say we're less than 500. What you're a lot smarter than me, Greg. What's a 3-4 winning percentage? What is that? A 40-something%? I'd say we're.
Close enough, yeah, sure.
I would say we're around 40. So that's a big F, Greg. There's nothing good. I'm saying the same thing you are, Bubba. I really don't want to blast my kids and my coaching staff for everybody in the world to see, but we're feeling just what you're feeling, brother.
Anything else for Coach Traylor? All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank y'all. God bless. Birds up.